is on. Okay, so hi everyone, welcome to the session, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you have joined us for this session. In this session, we are going to talk about a number properties, typically in context of divisibility and remainders. To prepare you for this session better, we had already sent out some content that through the email ID that you had provided or registered through us, and we hope that you have already gone through the videos over there. Now, if you have not gone through those videos or not gone through the free trial, I'll be requesting all of you to do that post the session is done, so that you have the entire learning that we have in the session. You have that entirety with you, right? So you have the complete learning with you. So please do watch those sessions. Again, all of that is available in your free trial or the mails that we have already sent to you. All right. We at e-GMAT conduct webinars every weekend, both on Saturdays and Sundays. The next Saturday, that is September 25th, we have a webinar on GMAT critical reasoning. In this webinar, we are going to talk about the pre-thinking approach to A's GMAT critical reasoning, and how to solve GMAT CR questions, difficult GMAT CR questions with a 90+% accuracy within 2 minutes time. So if you are someone who's not that, not that into that pre-thinking approach, or if you are someone who's not that, whose score has plateaued over CR, please attend this session, and I'm very, very sure you would love the session and enjoy the learnings that you get from the session. To register for that session, simply click on the register now button that you can see over here. The next day, that is on Sunday, September 26th, we have a GMAT algebra webinar, and in this webinar we are going to talk about inequalities and absolute values, absolute value questions. I'll teach you some methods such that you are very, very clear on how to solve difficult questions on inequalities and absolute values within 2 minutes with 100% accuracy. We're also going to see some really cool methods to solve questions based out of these two topics, right? With that, before I move ahead with anything else, let me hide this pane out of over here. I have a few questions for all of you. The first question is, when do you plan to take the GMAT? Please mark your answer over here. When do you plan to take the GMAT? And this gives me a very good idea on the level of students we have in the session, so that I can curate the session in that manner itself, right? And with that, let me also bring you two other questions. The first question that I'm really interested to know is, what according to you is your current quant score? And again, if you are a person who doesn't know your current quant score, I would rather want you to click on the Q40 to 42 range maybe. But again, that would also mean that the numbers would not be representative, right? Okay, very interesting. Okay, very interesting, because I see that a lot of you do not actually know your current quant score. So we'll come to that in a moment's time. Another question, and the last question before I move ahead with the presentation, is what is your target quant score? All right, so let me end the first poll. So what I can see over here is 40% of you tell me that you've not taken a date yet. Another 30% of you tell me that you're taking the GMAT within that 31 to 45 days, and I'm very, very sure that you are those people who are targeting round 2. And then some more, around 15%, around 22% who tell me it's between 0 to 30 days. All right, so whether you belong to the first category or the last, through this session, what I am planning to do is, after you go home, after attending the session, you would have a unified approach in your pocket to solve all questions, and by that I definitely mean that. You would have a method through which you can solve all questions out of divisibility and remainders within 2 minutes with 100% accuracy. The best thing about this is we're only teaching you one method, that's it. We'll not waste time into teaching multiple methods to you. So one method, that is it, right? Okay, about your current quant score, I can see a lot of you do not know that. So if you do not know that, I recommend all of you to take the Sigma X mock. The Sigma X mock is by far the most accurate mock in this entire field, right? To the actual GMAT. Take the Sigma X mock, understand what's your starting score, because that's very, very important to make sure you drive your study plan in the right direction. Lastly, I am super happy and elated to see that almost around 70% if you tell me, 75% if you tell me that you are targeting a 50 or a 51, and almost 90% if you tell me that you're targeting a 49, 50 or 51. That's really very, very good. Again, a good quant score would definitely mean that your chances of getting a higher GMAT score definitely that increases, and then your chances of getting a scholarship also increases, right? So please make sure your quant preparation is because that is as important as your verbal preparation. So please make sure your quant preparation is going in the right direction. Again, if you have any questions or doubts, just write to us. We'll be very happy to help you out in that perspective. Right. So with that, let me move on to the next pane over here. And just give me a moment, please. I'll very quickly bring in the yes no poll. All right. Now, I hope the presentation has loaded at everyone's end. Can you please mark a yes if you can see the presentation? It's a black slide written number properties 2 on it. Perfect. For anyone at whose end the presentation has not yet loaded, just give it another 5 seconds. I'm very, very sure that will load up. And in case it doesn't, please log out and log in. That would, help you with the issue. Now, before I move into the presentation over here, two very important things that I want you to see and understand. One, you have a short answer poll named answer as question. Now, at any point in time, if I ask you a question regarding the session or any questions that we are discussing, please put your answers over here. The poll that you can see is to the right hand side of your screen. At the bottom of your screen, you can also see your Q&A pod, where my host today, Harsha, and I'll talk about him in a moment's time, would clear all the doubts that you people have. At any point in time, if you're having a audio issue, please log out and log in, because audio is perfectly clear at our end. Right? So with that, let's move ahead and let me introduce you to myself and my co-host for today's session. So I am Acharya Roy. I'm one of GMAT strategy experts over here at eGMAT. With me, I have Harsha, and Harsha is also a GMAT strategy expert here at eGMAT. We're also we have helped a lot of students, and that is the reason see us very frequently in these kind of sessions. The agenda for this session, again, would be to solve questions that we have brought in this PPT that you can see through one method. And then it's also that you understand the method, inculcate this method into your habit, so that the moment you see an NP question based out of these topics, solving those questions doesn't become any problem to you, right? So with that, we would just give me a moment. Let me take my pen so that you people can see it out, and let me hide out the tally. All right, so there are two parts of this webinar. We're going to take around 120 minutes discussing the questions that we have brought for you, and then again 15 minutes for any questions that you people might have for us. All right, the purpose of this session is very simple. Through this session, we are going to help you understand two things. If you think acing GMAT quant is difficult, it's not at all difficult. It's just the right habits that you need to inculcate within your plan. The first thing is you need to have a very strong understanding of your basics, because without basics, understanding the question, comprehending the question becomes very difficult. The second thing is, once you have a very strong foundation, and once you know all the concepts, you need to also have a structured method to solve the questions at hand using the concepts that you already are aware of. As far as the progression of the session is considered, I'll first start off with 3 difficult data sufficiency questions, which are in the range of 700 plus, right? These are difficult questions. After these 3 difficult questions are done through at your end, understand I'm not going to discuss these questions right at the beginning. So after these questions are done at your end, we'll start off with a warm-up section. We have 5 warm-up questions from that below 650 level, then 3 questions in that 650 to 700 level. These are problem-solving questions. Then another 4 questions in that 700 plus level, and then we would discuss the 3 questions that we had initially discussed. These are the the same three questions, and I'm very, very sorry over here. Let me draw it out over here. So these are the same three questions that we would be discussing right at the beginning, right? Your accuracy increase with respect to the first attempt versus the second attempt would mark the success for this session. I hope the instructions are clear to all of you. Can you please mark a yes if all the instructions are clear? That is perfect, and I hope all of you are very interested in solving the questions as well. Now, in these kind of sessions, if you have attended any of these sessions before, let me give you this. We do not time yourself. We do not time you, right? So what we do is we ask you to select a select a poll, right? And the moment 80% of you select another answer choice apart from still solving, that is the time when we call time for all of you. So at any point in time, we are not going to time yourself. It would be your average speed that through which we would be timing yourself, right? So before I move into the first question, question number 8, which belongs to the 700 plus category of data sufficiency, can you please mark a still solving? The poll is now open. All right, please mark a still solving. I have 77 students in the session. Let's get this number to at least a 40. And guys, again, let's make this session very interactive in nature, right? I just don't want this to turn out, don't want the session to turn out into a monologue kind of thing, right? So please mark still solving. I only have 30 students. The faster you mark still solving, the faster you get the question, right? So you need to do this, and only then I'll be giving you the first question. I am still at 35. I need 5 more people. So anyone who can hear me and have not marked the still solving, please do so. All right, that is perfect. So let us begin with the first question. Question number 8 on your screen. All the best. All right, last 10 seconds to mark your answer. Again, please mark your answer in the poll. Please do not put anything on the Q&A pod. It's a request from my end. We have a poll for a certain reason. Please let's use it for the same. 3, 2, and 1. All right, I'm going to end the poll. And we are not going to discuss the answers, as I already told you. We are going to solve the first 3 questions. Once this is done, we would be moving into the warm-up section, and then we'll solve these questions again at the end, right? So question number 8 is done. Thank you for all of your responses. Let me get you the poll for question number 9. All right, here's the poll for question number 9. Can you please mark a still solving? And just so you know, the faster you do this, the faster you get the question, right? So let's get to that number of 40 very, very quickly. All right, I have my number, question number 9 on your screen. All the best for this one. All right, last 10 seconds to solve this question and mark the answer. If you've not done so, please do so. Three, two, one, and 0. All right, I'm going to end the poll. We're not going to broadcast the results. As I told you, we're going to discuss these questions at the end. So let me hide out the poll and let me bring in the poll for question number 10. Again, the process remains very, very similar. I want all of you to click on still solving and let me get you the 10th question. All right, thank you for all of your responses, guys. Let's move to question number 10. All the best for this. All right, last 7 seconds. Let's take 7 more seconds. Put out the answer for this question. 3, 2, 1, and 0. All right, I'm going to end the poll. Thank you for all of your responses. I've taken a note of the responses that you provided over here. And let me hide out this poll. All right, now tell me, how were these 3 questions? You can use the short answer poll that you can see at the right-hand side of your screen to answer this. How did you file these 3 questions to be? Tricky, kind of tricky. Okay, and let me stop broadcasting results to find different answers. Confusing, okay. Difficult, very new. Difficult to solve without knowing the concepts, all right. Medium, still searching for a person who would say easy because that's always, you know, very interesting to see. So almost all of you, okay, I have my person over here. Okay, almost all of you, have told me that these questions are either difficult or tricky or confusing or time taking. Again, things that we constantly hear when we see a question which is of that 700 plus level of difficulty, right? In this session, what I would try to help you out is, after you're done with the session, these three questions would be solved again, and I'll just see how well have you learned in these 1.5 hours that I would be teaching you, right? So with that learning, we'll now begin the warm-up section. And in the warm-up section, I've gotten 5 questions for all of you. We'll solve each question in detail. And we'll also try to give you, after the warm-up section is done, we'll also try to give you what is your current conceptual level, right? So that you have a very clear understanding on what do you need to work on. So very quickly, again, you know the process. You need to mark a still solving. Two more seconds to reach that number of 40, guys. Fast, very, very fast. Okay, I have 40 people over here. First one question on your screen. All the best for this one. All right, 5 more seconds. Let's not take a single second more than that. 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and I am going to broadcast the results. 64% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice B. 23% of you tell me it's choice A. Let's look at the question. What is the question asking? It's first saying that Z is a 3-digit number whose digits are consecutive numbers in increasing order. I need to select the first correct statement. Now, if Z is a 3-digit number whose digits are in consecutive increasing order, and I need to see where the relationship between Z and divisibility of 3, I first need to know what is the divisibility rule of 3. So I've opened the short answer poll, guys. Tell me, what is the divisibility rule for 3? The sum of all the numbers has to be divisible by 3, right? Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. All right. Thank you for all of your responses. Now over here, Z is a 3-digit number. Digits are consecutive numbers, right? So if I consider the first digit to be equal to X, the second would be X plus 1, the third would be X plus 2. Now take out the sum of these 3 digits. What do we have? We have 3X plus 3. If you take a 3 common, you have 3 times X plus 1. So this number 3 times X plus 1 is definitely divisible by 3, right? If it's divisible by 3, I can for sure say that yes, the correct answer for this question is choice B. Now, thank you for all of your responses in the short answer poll. I want to ask the 23% of you who have marked choice A, where did you falter? Tell me, where did you falter? People who marked choice A, where did you go wrong? Silly error, okay. Again, no error is a silly error, because till that point in time where you think your errors to be silly, you won't be able to take actionable items on them, right? Click the wrong option, that is completely okay, but please make sure you do not do that. -101, but -101, how can we check divisibility of negative numbers? Not very sure if you should do that. Okay, did not go through the algebraic expression again. Please take a note. Follow the odd plus odd is equal to even. No, they are consecutive numbers. One of them would be odd, two would be even, or two of them would be odd, one would be even, right? So please make a note of it. Please do not make these mistakes, right? All right, so with that, let's move on to the next question. Very quickly, let me clear all the answers and reopen the poll. Please mark us still solving. The poll is open. Please mark us still solving. All right, thank you. Let's go to the the second question. All the best for this one. All right, last 5 seconds. Please put your answer if you have not done so. 3, 2, 1, and 0. All right, let me end the poll and let me broadcast the results. 43% if you tell me that the answer for this question is choice A, 36% if you tell me it's choice C. All right, very interesting. I am going to have a yes no poll over here even before I discuss the question. Now what I want you people to answer, the people who have marked choice C, this poll is only for people who have marked choice C. How many of you assumed numbers and solved this question? Please mark a yes. Okay, I have a absolute 50-50 split over here, rather a 52-48 split with the no over here. So I'm gonna end the poll, and to solve this question, it's very, very important you understand the divisibility rule of 4, right? Because in this question we have been asked the relationship of Z and divisibility rule of 4. So let me clear on the answers. Thank you for all of you. Thank you all of you to put your answers over here. Okay, so Z is a 4-digit number. Digits are consecutive in nature. What is the divisibility rule of 4? Can you please put that out in the short answer poll, please? What's the divisibility rule of 4, everyone? The last 2 digits should be divisible by 4, right? Absolutely correct. Very, very good. Very good. I'm really very, very happy that you people are so interactive. And that really helps the session as well, right? Okay, so the last 2 digits should be divisible by 4. Over here, can I take x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3? Can I do that? Answer in yes, no, poll, please. Can I take x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3? Can I do that? Okay. Now, it's again a 50-50 split over here, so I'm going to end the poll. And let me tell you, why can we not do that? If I assume the numbers to be x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, then do I have the value of x plus 2 and x plus 3? If I do not have the values of x plus 2 and x plus 3, I'm sorry, how would I say that the last two digits are divisible by 4? I do not have this answer, right? And that is the reason I cannot take these two digits to be x plus 2 and x plus 3. And for the same reason, I have to go the other way around, which is taking the different possibilities. Now, since this is a 4-digit number, it can either end within it can either be even or odd, right? All odd numbers are definitely not divisible by 4. But there are certain even numbers, for example, 3, 4, 5, 6, which are divisible by 4, and certain even numbers, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, which are not divisible by 4. So there are such certain numbers which essentially are divisible by 4 as well, right? And hence, the correct answer choice for this question is choice A and not choice C. All right, so with that, tell me, is the solution clear to all of you in the yes no poll that I am putting it over here? Is the solution clear to all of you guys? For these, again, since I do not know the value of x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, I cannot use x over here. I have to make sure that I take numbers and solve it out. That's the only way out. There's no other way out to solve out this question, right? All right, so with that, let me, even if we take, it will be divisible by 2, but not, again, I do not, again, um, uh, let me see who this is. Charu, if we take, we cannot for sure say it is, it's divisible by 2. I do not know the value of x, right? X can be 1 for which it's even. X can be 2 for which it's odd. I cannot do that. I do not have the value of x, right? I hope that is clear to all of you. Can we place the value approach in this? Use the place value approach? Again, the place value approach is not of any usage if you do not know the values of the last two digits. Understand, the divisibility rule of 4 needs you to know the value of the last two digits. You should know what is the exact two digits. If I do not consider absolute numbers, I cannot solve this question. Take this learning and we'll now move on to the third question. Just give me a moment over here. Let me bring in the poll for 4 answer choices. Okay, I have the poll over here. I'll reopen the poll. Can you please mark us still solving over here? Perfect. Let me go to question number 3 then. All right, all the best for this one, guys. All right, last 3 seconds. If you have not put your answer, please do so. 3 seconds, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and let me broadcast the results. 80% if you tell me that the answer for this question is choice C, which is absolutely correct. All right, now since 80% if you tell me, so I'll rush through the solution because there's not a lot to cover over here. Now, what is the rule for divisibility of 8? Because in this question, I need to find a number which is a multiple of 8, right? The rule of divisibility of 8 is the last 3 digits should be divisible by 8. So what I do is I do not consider anything in this number apart from the last 3 digits, which is 897. If I divide 897 by 8, I get a remainder of +1. Now, the two closest numbers which are closest to 897 and are divisible by 8 are either at a -1 or at a +7, right? Since the remainder over here is 1. So I either subtract 1 or add 7 to get the next multiple of 8. Now, I need to find the closest. I'm definitely not doing this, so I'll do this. I subtract a 1 from this number. So 897 minus 1 becomes 896. Choice C is the correct answer choice for this question. I hope the solution is clear to all of you. With that, we'll now move on to the next 2 questions, and just give me a moment over here, please. All right, I have the poll for question number 4. Please mark as still solving and let me share question number 4 with all of you. I've only gotten 30 responses. I need at least another 10. All right, I have my responses. Question number 4 on your screen. All the best for this. Again, I see there's no option E, so please don't mark an option E over here, please. So yes, please go ahead. All right, 3 more seconds to mark the answer for this question. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and broadcast the results. 71% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice D. Now, what is the question? If a number leaves a remainder 3 when divided by 204, what is the remainder when n is divided by 4? So I have a number n that leaves a remainder of 3 when divided by 204. I need to find out the remainder when the same number n is divided by 4 over here. Now, in this question, I am going to teach you a new concept, and I want all of you to embrace this concept. It might take you some time, but the faster you embrace this concept, the quicker you get to those 700 plus level questions. Trust me on this. right? Okay, so what do I have? The concept over here is dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. This is something that we have been learning since our grade 5th or 6th, right? We'll use the same thing over here. Over here, n leaves a remainder of 3 when divided by 204. So I can write n as 204q plus 3, where 204 is the divisor, q is the assumed quotient, and 3 is the remainder. I need to find out what is the remainder when n is divided by 4. So I can write n as 4p plus r, where 4 is the divisor, r is the remainder. There's only one concern and one constraint, rather, I shall not say concern, but yes, one constraint that I have over here, which is the remainder of over here should always be lesser than the divisor. The divisor is 4, so remainder has to be lesser than 4. If I get the answer to be lesser than 4, that is my final answer for this question. Now what I do is I compare these two equations. What I see is I have n to the left hand side of both these equations, so their right hand sides are comparable in nature. I use the process skill of visualization and I try to think in what way can I write 204q plus 3 in terms of 4p plus r. The best process to do this, because understand, the moment I can write 204q plus 3 in terms of 4p plus r where r is less than 4, that is my answer. I don't have to do anything else, right? So that is my answer for this question. So what do? Is I check which of these numbers are divisible by the divisor that I can see. 204q and 3 are the two numbers that I can see over here, right? This is the first entity, this is the second entity. Now is 4 divisible by is 3 divisible by 4p? No, it is not. Always consider the numbers which are greater than the divisor, right? So I'll not touch 3, I'll leave 3 as it is. I'll look at 204q. I see that 204q is greater than 4, so I can get some remainder out of it when I divide it by 4. So then what I do is I try to divide 204q by 4. I can say that 204q is equal to 4 times 51q, right? 51q, I consider this to be p, as I've mentioned over here. So my entire 204q becomes 4p, where p is equal to 51q. The moment I have that, I have another number over here, right? I take that out over here as well. So I write n as 4 times p plus r. I'll have to check whether r is less than the divisor or not. Over here I can see yes it is. So this becomes my final answer. So the answer choice for this question is choice D, which 71% you have marked correctly. But the thing that I want you people to embrace over here is the new process that we have built and we have learned, or let's say we have revised per se. All right. Now, I might get a few no's over here, but yes, any questions or doubts in this process? In the short answer poll, please. Any questions or doubts in this process? If there is, please tell me what is that question, because we would be using the same methodology to solve the next set of questions. And through the next set of questions, it would start coming more naturally to you. All right, no more questions. 204 is the quotient? No, Q is the quotient. Please understand, 204 is the remainder, right? I get a 204 is the divisor, right? I get a remainder of 3 when divided by 204. So 204 over here is the divisor. Could we just say that? Yeah, you could say that, but again, please understand, and let me also see. So please understand, Abhijoy, it's very, very important for you to make sure that you break the numbers, because not all questions would be so easy, right? Saurav, please re-explain the equation. I'll do that. Whatever you have over here, you consider the divisor. The divisor in this question is 4. Take the numbers which are greater than 4 in this equation. What are the numbers? The only entity is 204q. Divide 204q by 4 and see what do you get. You get 51q. You get a proper number over here. That is the value of p. In case this would have been 205q or something on that perspective, you would have written p is equal to 51q, and then you would have gotten another q over here per se, right? So that is something that I want you to do on your own, right? Again, very, very important. You need to make sure you divide this entire expression in terms of whatever the divisor you have in the second expression. But you said the divisor should be less than the remainder. Divisor is never less than the remainder. The remainder is less than the divisor, right? When you divide 10 by 7, can you expect a remainder which is equal to, let's say, 8? No, right? Remainders are always lesser than the divisor. Please keep that in mind. I hope this is clear to all of you. And with this, we'll move on to the fifth question. Just give me a moment. I will give the poll for the fifth question. Okay, you have the poll. Please mark as still solving over here, please. And again, the faster you click on still solving, the faster you get the question. So there are certain students who have clicked on the still solving in the last question who are not doing it right now. Please do so. The faster you do that, the faster I can move on to the fifth question. Guys, very, very quickly. I only have 30 people. I need 10 more. All right, thank you for all of your responses. Let's move to question number 5 on your screen. All the best for this one. All right, last 3 seconds, guys. Last 3 seconds. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and broadcast the results. 64% if you tell me that the answer for this question is choice A. Okay, how many of you used the approach that we learned in the last question? And please be very honest with yourself. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. 68% of you tell me that you have not done that. 32% of you tell me that you have done that. To those 32%, you are one step closer to those 700 questions, 700 level questions. To those 68% of people who still did not use it, again, these are easy questions. The moment you start applying something that you have learned new in an easy question, it's easy for you as well. You cannot apply something that you've learned new in difficult questions directly, you will falter. That is the reason I wanted all of you to use the same method. Understand? I know it's a different method. I know it might seem convoluted for these easy questions. But through that method, we would be making the difficult questions of yours easy. Right? Those questions which might seem and which would seem convoluted to you after, let's say, half an hour or so, would become easy for you if you start using the method right away, right? So with that, let's now move into the answer discussion for this question. I have, if n is a number which leaves a remainder of 6 when divided by 205, and then what is the remainder when I divide n by 5? Okay, very, very quickly in the short answer poll, why can 6 not be the answer? Why can I not have 6 as the answer? Absolutely correct, because 6 is not less than the divisor. The divisor over here is 5. So any answer choice that is greater than 5 is absolutely not going to help us, right? It cannot be the answer. Right? All right. I'm so very happy to see all of you getting these questions correct, because these small questions are also very, very important. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and let me clear all the answers and reopen the poll for all of you. Very quickly tell me, if n leaves a remainder of 6 when divided by 205, how can I write n to be as? How can I write n to be if n leaves a remainder of 6 when divided by 205? 205q plus 6, absolutely correct. I can write n as 205q plus 6. Perfect. So if I can write n as 205q plus 6, I can also write n as 5p plus r, because I need to find out the remainder when n is divided by 5. Keep the constraint in mind, r has to be less than 5. Again, we use the same process skill of visualization. What is the divisor? The divisor is 5. Which are the entities which are greater than 5? Both 205q and 6. So I divide 205q by 5 first, and I see that if the value of p is equal to 41q, I can completely divide 205q, right? But with that, I also have the value of r to be equal to 6. Can that be the final answer? No, it cannot be the final answer. So I need to again divide 6 by 5 to get to the final answer. If I divide 6 by 5, the final remainder is equal to 1. So 205q plus 6 can be written as 5 times of 41q plus 1 plus 1, where 41q plus 1 now acts as your p, and you can now write n to be equal to 5p plus r. Here r is less than 5 and is directly the answer for the question. All right. Now tell me, all of you, is the solution and the process clear to all of you? And I know some of you would curse me because I am teaching you something that's not that easy to understand and it's slightly convoluted. But again, the faster you learn this approach, the better you become at this approach. Again, for people for whom it's not fully clear, you need to tell me what is it that's bothering you. If you just tell me it's not clear, that doesn't help me. That doesn't help you with the solution, right? So tell me what's not clear. Which part is something that you could not understand? Is substitution approach viable in this question? Again, I don't want you to use that approach. I want you to use this approach only because the 700 level of the 700 and the most difficult questions based out of this topic would become easy for you. Why should I use the substitution approach knowing that there might be cases which I might fail to substitute and for which I might get a different answer? I hope that that's clear to you. I cancel n with your method and divide. Again, you don't have to cancel n. You're just comparing the RHS because the LHS is same. So you're comparing 205q plus 6 and 5p plus r. You're just comparing them, not cancelling anything per se. Right? Equation 205q is equal to 5 times this. I understood this, but why not what you did after that? Okay, so basically what we did over here is I wrote 205q to be equal to 5 times p, where p is equal to 41q. Just divided the first entity over here that you can see over here, 205q plus by 5. So if you divide 205q by 5, you get 41q, right? So that is my p for the first entity. Then I also need to divide 6 by 5, and I then get I then get the value of 5 times 1 plus 1. When I divide 6 by 5, right, I get 5 times 1 plus 1. So when I have 5 times 41q plus 5 times 1, what I do is I take 5 common and then I write 41q plus 1, and then I had an individual 1 over here, so I'll write that out. So now this 5 times 41q plus 1 becomes my p. This over here becomes my p, and the remaining part over here becomes my r. That is what we did over here. Is this now clear to you? And let me see, Valeria, is this now clear to you? That is perfect. Again, we'll use the same methodology. Again, the best thing over here is I would be using the same method to solve all the other questions that are brought in today's session, right? So the faster you inculcate the method, the faster you would become in solving these questions. All right, thank you for this. Let me go to the next slide. So we are done with the warm-up section. I hope you enjoyed solving these 5 questions, learn new things. Again, if you've gotten lesser than 5 questions correct, I would recommend you to go through the videos that we had already recommended all of you. If you have not done so, please go to your free trial, and all of that would be available in your free trial. Understand that these are warm-up questions only. GMAT questions would be much difficult than this and would require usage of these applications on a higher scale, right? So please ensure that you know all of this. Okay, just one note for myself. How many of these 5 questions did you get correct, guys? Let's get these answers over here, please. How many of these 5 questions did you people get correct? Again, anything below 5, please go to your free trial, go through all the course material that we have put out for you. That would really help you understand the concepts that are tested in these topics. Right? Perfect. I'm going to end the poll. Thank you for all of your responses. And with that, I would now go to the second section of today's session, in which I have brought some questions of that 600 level that I was talking about. Right? These are problem-solving questions. So let's solve. So we'll be solving 3 questions in the first block, and then we'll be moving up with the next block of questions. So again, please mark as still solving. This should come naturally to all of you, right? I only have 11 people. This is very disheartening, guys. Let's take it to 40 at the earliest. Only then I'll be able to give you the next question. 36, 37. I need 3 more. All right, perfect. Question number 1 on your screen. All the best for this. All right, last 5 seconds to put your answers to this question. Let me end the poll and broadcast the results. Okay, 63% of you tell me that the answer choice for this question is choice C, and fairly varied upon the other choices that I can see over here. All right, that is fine. So what do I have? If m is a positive integer and m by 30 is equal to 8.2, what is the remainder when m is divided by 15? This is what my question is, right? Now, very honestly, again, and all of these are very honest, I want all of you to answer honestly. How many of you calculated the value of m? By that I mean, calculated m to be equal to 30 times 8.2 and then solved out the remaining part? How many of you did that? Okay, very interesting. I'm going to end the poll. 67% of you tell me that you did calculate, 33% of you again. So that number of 33% is remaining the same because you have been applying the same method, and not the one that I was talking about in this question by calculating the value of m and then solving out the question. Again, another request, please start using that same method. Otherwise, you are not going close to those 700 level questions, right? Okay, let me clear all the answers. And again, thank you for being honest. Thank you for giving these answers to me. Let's solve this question. If m is a positive integer, m by 30 is equal to 8.2. What is the remainder when m is divided by 15? So I know that dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. I also know that r has to be less than 15 because it cannot be greater or equal to the divisor. I know the value of m, that's equal to 15 times 8.2. I'll try to write m in terms of 15p plus r. So what I see is, I see a number which has a fractional part. So I divide this number into two parts. I take out the integer part, take out the fractional part over here. 30 times 8 and 30 times 0.2. Now 30 times 0.2 becomes a 6. So no problems over here. I have a 30 times 8. I need to write m in terms of 15p, right? So now my divisor is 15. I'll check out of these two numbers, which is 30 times 8 and 6, which is greater than 15. Obviously, this is. So I'll try to write 30 times 8 in terms of 15. Now, taking or getting a 15 from a 30 is very easy. You just divide 30 into two parts. One is 15, the other is 2. Right? So I have a 15. I multiply this 2 with this 8. So what do I get? I get a 15 times 2 times 8. Now this 2 times 8 can act as the p of my equation. Now I have my equation in the terms of 15p plus r, where r is less than 15. So that is my final answer for this question. Tell me in the short answer poll, is the solution clear to all of you? Is the solution clear to all of you? Again, something that we have been doing. How did we get 6? By multiplying 30 and 0.2. 0.2 is taken from this 8.2, right? I hope that's clear. Perfect. All right, so now we'll move on to question number 2. Just give me a moment over here. All right, just a moment, please. I'll bring question number 2's poll. All of you can see the poll, I presume. The poll is on. Please mark still solving. We have not multiplied over here, right? And let me see who this is. Rahul. We have not multiplied. No math at all, right? We just manipulated the numbers and reached our answer. No multiplication, nothing. Because the moment I multiply, what if my numbers are difficult? What if I tell you 23 times 37? Are you going to multiply? No, right? You are going to manipulate that. That is something that I've been trying over here. Right? Okay, I have 38 people only. Okay, I need 2 more. Very quickly, please. Perfect. Question number 2 on your screen. All the best for this one. All right, 5 more seconds, guys, to mark the answer for this question. 3, 2, 1, and 0. I'm going to end the poll, broadcast the results. Let me see. 80% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice C. Again, same question. How many of you did the math over this question? That means, did the calculation 15 is equal to m is equal to 15 times 8.2 and then solved out the question. 89, 86, okay, 90% if you tell me that you did not do the calculations, I'm very, very happy. Cool, that is really very, very good. I'm going to end the poll. Thank you for all of your responses. And let me clear the answers of the poll so that I can use it again for the next question. Okay, so what do we have over here? M is a positive integer. M is equal to 8.2 times 15. I need to check m's divisibility by with 30, right? So I again divide 8.2 into 2 parts. One is 8, the other is 0.2. 15 times 0.2 gives me a 3. Then I have 15 times 8. Now I'm opening the short answer poll. Tell me, I have a 15 times 8 over here. I need to convert this into a 30. How do I do that? What is the most effective, approach for this part? What's the most effective approach? Absolutely correct. You take a 2 out from that 8, right? You take a 2 out from that 8 because to convert a 15 into a 30, you need a 2. The only place from which you can take a 2 out is 8. So you do that. Perfect. So what you do is you write 15 times 8 as 15 times 2 times 4. Then you have 30 times 4 in the form of 30p plus r because 15 times 0.2 is equal to 3. So this expression is in the form of 15p plus r where r is less than 30 because r is equal to 3. That is my final answer for this question. So the answer for this question is equal to choice C. Right? I hope the solution is clear to all of you. With that, I'll move on to the third question. Slightly convoluted than the last two. Slightly more involved, I would say. Not convoluted. Slightly more involved. You know the process already, right? Feel more confident after using the new concept? Absolutely gorgeous seeing this. Who is this? Let me very quickly. Shikhar. I am so very happy, Shikhar, seeing this. Again, trust me, it would help you solve the next set of questions very easily. Guys, I have the poll. I wanted all of you to mark a still solving by yourself. Don't expect me to ask this for every question, right? Let's just do this for every question on our own, please. Okay, thank you. I have my number over here. I'll move to question number 3. All the best for this one. All right, last 5 seconds to mark the answer for this question. If you have not marked it, please do so. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and broadcast the results. 64% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice E. 20% of you tell me it's choice B. Very interesting. Let's see. Now, m is a positive integer. M by 15 is equal to 9.2. What is the remainder when m is divided by 30? Again, I have 9.2, so I'll divide it in 2 parts. M times 15 times 0.2, which would lead me to a 3, and then 15 times 9. I need a 30 from this, right? I need a 30 from 15 times 9. I'll open the short answer poll. Tell me, how do I get a 30 from 15 times 9? 15 times 4.5, but again, my quotient cannot be 4.5, right? I cannot have my quotient to be equal to 4.5, right? 30 times 4 plus 15, absolutely correct. Yes, that was what I was wanting you to type it out. Really very, very good. Okay, so what I do over here is I just divide 9, because I can understand. To convert a 15 into a 30, I need a 2. 9 is an odd number, so first need to convert it into an even number. So I write it as 8 plus 1. So what do I have? I have 15 times 8 plus 15 times 1 plus 3. Now 15 times 1 becomes 18, so no concerns over here. 15 times 8 can be written as 15 times 2 times 4, through which I get a 30 times 4. So this expression is in the form of 30p plus r. What I need to check is whether my r is less than 30 or not. Yes, 18 is less than 30. So this is my final answer, which is choice E. In the short answer poll, is the solution clear to all of you? In the short answer poll, guys. Yes, feeling confident? All right. Now I have, so this was all about, how you use methods. And trust me on this, methods are something, if you inculcate methods into your habits, it would get very easy for all of you. Post this, I am going to start the most important and most interesting, and you would love this part of the session. But before that, two things which is very important. Before that, let me discuss both of them. Okay, firstly, the overview of the first three questions that we had solved over here. The first thing that we were solving over here was again something that we had learned, right? 30 convert converting 30 into a 15, very easy. Just divide this into parts, so that is not going to be a problem. Converting 15 to a 30 is also not a problem when you take a 2 out of the even number, or else when you have an odd number, converting 15 becomes easy when you convert this odd number into an even number plus an odd number. Three very interesting entities over here that I want you to keep in mind. Also, the most important piece of concept, dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. And I hope all of you are perfectly clear to go with these ones, right? So I'm going to end the poll that I can see, and I'm going to clear all the answers over here. Now, this was the first thing that I wanted to state before going into the most important part. There's another thing. That thing is, how do you use and your course, and how to get to that Q50? So allow me just 2 minutes to help you understand what is the correct approach to do so. There are three very important things that you need to keep in mind. First is concepts. You need to have a very clear understanding of the concepts. Second is process skills. The ways in which you use the concepts, the ways you use the concepts, and also use the data and all of that to solve the question. And finally, GMAT skills, the skills that you need to solve difficult level questions that we would be coming to, right? All of these, if done in its proper order, would make it very easy for all of you. You already have the access to the free trial. Go and take the diagnostic quiz. The diagnostics would help you understand what is your starting score. Post that, go through the concept files. The concept files would help you understand your conceptual, would give you a conceptual clarity. The process skill files that you can see over here in the course, in our e-GMAT course, helps you understand how to build those process skills to solve medium, easy to medium, and to that hard level questions. When you fare on these kind of files, then the real game starts. We ask you to solve difficult questions through the GMAT skills files. In these questions, you solve 700 plus level questions, and that is how you reach to that level for each of the modules you have in Quant. Right? So the first takeaway is you need to learn all of this in its proper progressive manner. You cannot just start solving hard questions, right? This is very similar to what we are doing in this session. Start off with easy questions, then with the medium, then go to the hard. So this has to be progressive in nature. The second thing is what to learn, what not to learn. Our e-GMAT course has delivered the most number of successes after we have launched Quant 2.0, which is an adaptive quant course. It only teaches you what you need to learn. It does not teach you something that you already know of. And as you can see over here, we have delivered almost more than twice the success, which with respect to the other companies, and you can also see the numbers over here. Not only that, we also have gotten the most number of 700 plus scores from January 21 to July 21, and you can see that's 3.5 times of any other competitor over here. So why do we have this? The only reason we have this is because we have made a product that is adaptive in nature. So understand this, if you know half of the things that are there in number properties, do you need to go through the full course? Not at all, right? That is something what we have delivered through our Quant 2.0 course, because we know that every one of you need adaptive learning and learning that is suitable to your needs. So the number properties course, for example, has 106 learning activities, which is around 50 hours of content. Now, if you're a student if you're a student who is around that Q30 mark, you definitely need to go through all of these activities. If you're a student who is around that Q45 mark, you don't have to go through all the activities, maybe some activities which you are weak at. A student who is at Q49 only needs to go through 10% or 15% of the course, the areas which he's weak in. So different needs of each student makes sure through that you have to solve different activities, and then that essentially means the same course but different for all of you. So that is the second takeaway. you need to have a course which is aligned to your specific needs, your strengths and your weaknesses, right? The next thing is the adaptive learning architecture I was talking about. So every module, for example, divisibility remainders, everything, all of this is already available in your free trial. So please go and check it out. For every module, you have 2 diagnostic quizzes. You need to understand what is your starting score and what are your strengths and weaknesses. Based out of the score in your diagnostic quiz, the platform would tell you which are the files that you need to go through, right? Since I told you there are 106 activities over here, they are divided into 6 modules. The 6 modules, each of those modules have 5 learning parts. So there are a total of 15,625 ways in which your course can be curated. By that I mean the platform would tell you what to read, how to read in 15,625 ways, depending upon your starting score, right? And how do you know that you have reached the excellence point? You get evaluation feedback at each and every of these points to ensure that you are in constant touch and you have a proper idea on where are you moving. So that's the third takeaway. Every learning activity needs to come with a personalized feedback. If you do not have a feedback, you are not very sure whether you are going in the right direction or you are not doing that. The expert architecture tells you everything, whether you've learned perfectly or you need to do selective revision or you need to redo the course. All of this is already available in your course. And then we have testimonials for the same thing, and I'll share that with you so that you have a very clear understanding. But yes, this helps you understand what are and how do you go about the entire course in a much more effective manner than any other traditional courses, right? With that, let me come to the next part of the session. And I promise you this part would be the most interesting part for this session. So before I move ahead with the next part of the session, one very quick question. Are you 100% confident with this concept that we have been learning? If you are, then we just understand why does this concept help us solve questions and why is this concept so effective. Now, let me give you 2 scenarios over here. Let me ask you, if I had given you 2 numbers, 31 and 43, and I told you, what is the sum? What is the remainder when the sum of 31 and 43 is divided by 7? Now, there are 2 approaches to solve this question, right? The first approach is you calculate the overall sum and then find out the remainder. So 31 plus 43 is 74. 74 by 7 gives you a remainder of 3. The second approach, 4. The second approach is you calculate the individual remainders. So you calculate 31 by 7, you get a remainder of 3. You calculate 43 by 7, you get a remainder of 1. And since in the initial question we had a sum symbol, we have to add these 2 remainders to get to the final remainder over here, which comes out to be equal to 4. So this is how we solve these kind of questions. These are the 2 sequences. Now tell me something in the short answer poll. Had I given you this expression, which sequence is an easier sequence? It can be sequence A or 2 or both. I want you people to tell me what according to you is better, is a better approach. Is it 1 or 2 or both? Sequence 1, sequence 2, someone says both. Again, since these numbers are very small, I'm still fine with sequence 1 or 2, right? So both are perfectly fine with me, right? What if I change this to a multiplication sign? What do you think? Would you like to multiply and take out the final result and then divide? Or would you want to calculate the individual remainders, and since you had a multiplication symbol, you multiply the 2 remainders to get to the final answer? Tell me, for this question, for the second question, for the multiplication one, what are you going to use? Sequence 1 or sequence 2? Definitely sequence 2, right? You are definitely not going to do these kind of calculations, right? It would take you a lot of time, right? That is the reason. Sequence 2 is always a lifesaver in questions like these. I'll take another example, right? For example, and I also tell you why does this work. This works because I know of this concept, right? Dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. Now, when I divide 31 by 7, how can I write this as? I can write it as 7 times 4 plus 3. I can write 43 as 7 times 6 plus 1. If you add these 2 numbers, I can simply add the right-hand sides over here. Take the 7 common. What you have? You have a 7 times 6 plus 4, and then you have a 3 plus 1. So 7 times p plus r. R is less than the divisor, which in this case is equal to 7. So the final answer for this question is 4. The same thing can be done when we have a multiplication sign over here, right? I know that's 31 and 43 can be written in this manner. Now, how do I expand something which is of the form a plus b times c plus d? I write this as a plus c, a times c, which is 7 times 4 plus 7 times 7 times 6. Then I multiply 7 times 4 with 1, which is over here. I multiply 3 with 7 times 6, which is over here. And finally 3 with 1, which is over here. Then what do? I take a 7 common, and whatever common terms do I have, I just write it down within this bracket. Final answer can be written in terms of 7p plus r. R is again less than 3. That is my final answer. Right? So this is what we would be using in these kind of questions. And since the second sequence is a lifesaver, you would find it out in the next couple of questions as well. It would really be very, very easy to solve questions, and you would not make mistakes over here, right? Isn't this very confusing? This is not at all confusing. I was just trying to explain the method. If it suits you, you can learn. If it doesn't suit you, it's completely okay. I hope this is all clear to all of you. The second and the first sequence is all clear to all of you. Why not use the divisibility rule of 7? I am not very sure if I know the divisibility rule of 7, just because it's very convoluted, right? And that's the reason I'll not be using the divisibility rule of 7. It's way, way more easier if I do it the normal way, I would say, right? So with that, I'll give you question number 4. Just allow me a moment over here, please. Okay, so I have the poll for question number 4. I have reopened the poll. Please select still solving. I will move on to question number 4, and this gets very interesting now. I only have 26 responses, guys. I need more responses. Please put your responses over here. I have 30 students only. Let's take this number to at least a 35, if not a 40. Perfect. Question number 4 on your screen. All the best for this one. All right, last 3 seconds to mark the answer for this question. If you have not done so, please do so. Last 3 seconds only. Two and one, and let me end the poll, broadcast the results. So 42% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice A. 31% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice C. First questions first. I'll open the short answer poll. Writing 24 times 3 times 38 to the power 5 is very simple, right? You write 24 times 24 times 24. And then you write 5 times 38. You write 38 for 5 times in its product form. Tell me first, sequence 1 or sequence 2 in the short answer poll. Sequence 1 or sequence 2, are you going to calculate the product and then the remainder? Or are you going to calculate the individual remainders first? Definitely sequence 2, right? You are going to calculate the individual remainders and then move on to calculating the final answer. For anyone who sits with calculating 24 times 24 times 24 and then 38 times 38 5 times, I am very sorry, it will take you another 12 hours, right? So we'll not do that. Okay, so since we know that we have to find out the individual remainders, the two entities that we have over here is 24 and 38. Very, very quickly in the short answer poll, what is the remainder when I divide 24 by 3? What is the remainder when I divide 24 by 3 in the short answer poll, please? It's equal to 0, right? Perfect. What is the remainder when I divide 38 by 3? What would that be? It's equal to 2, right? Absolutely perfect. So what do I have right now? I have 0 times 0 times 0 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? What I essentially do is calculate the individual remainders and then multiply all of that, because in my original number as well I have a multiplication. Now, since I have a 0, tell me very honestly, what is the final result going to be? Since I'm multiplying zeros with some other numbers, again, I'm not very interested in knowing the other numbers because not going to affect, right? It is going to be 0. So if I have a 0 over here, my final answer becomes choice A. So what do I have over here? I know that a number over here in this product form is already divisible by 3. If it is, then I don't even have to go through the entire process of an entire pain of calculating the individual remainders. But again, please do so as a practice for the first few questions so that you fall into the habit of these questions. And then you find the final answer to be equal to 0. Right? Is the solution clear to all of you? In the short answer poll, please. And why do I even have this short answer poll? Okay, do this and let me also get you a chat pod. That's more interactive. Much more interactive. Right? Okay, let me end the poll and let me take away this poll only. Let's have a chat pod so that all of you can type and I can see all of your responses. Okay, I hope all of you can see the chat pod. Tell me guys, is the solution clear to all of you? Perfect. That is very good. So with that, we would now move on to question number 5. Again, this will be very interesting. Just give me a moment, please. The poll for question number 5 is over here. Can you please mark as still solving? Okay, let's take it to 35 very quickly. A very interesting question coming your way. 35, I have it the number. Question number 5 on your screen. All the best for this one. All right, three seconds only, guys. If you've not put in the answer, please do so. 3 seconds only. 2, 1, and 0. I'm going to end the poll and broadcast the results. 77% of you telling me that the answer for this question is choice C. Again, okay, tell me first, sequence 1 or sequence 2 for this question, because very convoluted, right? 25 times 38, again at 25 times 38, again at 25 times 38. So you are definitely not going to calculate the entire product, which is sequence 1, right? You are definitely not going to do that. So we would be going through sequence 2. What's the method for sequence 2? Calculate the individual remainders over here. What are the two entities? 25 and 38. Very quickly, guys. What is the remainder for when I divide 25 by 3? Remainder when I divide 25 by 3. It's equal to 1, right? Absolutely correct. What is the remainder when I divide 38 by 3? That is equal to 2. Perfect. Perfect. So what do I have? I have a 1 times 2 times 1 times 2 times 1 times 2. Oh, very, very convoluted. Again, too much to write to, right? Again, but similar as easier numbers, I can simply calculate the final product. Comes out to be 8, and I then move on to the answer. So basically what I do is I calculate the value of remainder when I only have one entity of 25 times 38. I calculate that remainder to be equal to 2, and I then bring in the exponent to the final answer to calculate the final answer. So then I calculate 2 to the power 3, which becomes 8, and then I divide 8 by 3 to get the final remainder. This is okay. So before I move ahead, is the solution clear to all of you? First of all, tell me this. Is the solution clear to all of you? Okay. Now is also the time. Now is also the time where, okay, I have two people saying me a no. What is the issue? Please tell me. Why is the solution not clear? What is the issue? Jeremiah and Gautam, both of you. Why are we dividing 8 by 3 again? Because can 8 be the remainder, Gautam, if I have the divisor to be equal to 3? Can you get a remainder of 7 when I divide 10 by 3? Is it at any point in time possible? Your final answer can never be greater than the divisor or equal to the divisor, right? Your remainder always needs to be lesser than the divisor. Gautam, is that clear to you? Perfect. Okay. Jeremiah, okay. Again, what we need to do is we need to apply sequence 2. What is sequence 2? We need to calculate the individual remainders. 25 upon dividing by 3 gives me a remainder of 1. 38 gives me a remainder of 2. So 25 times 38 gives me a total remainder of 2. I have an exponent of 3 as well. So then I put 3 over here. The final remainder would be equal to 8. If the final remainder is equal to 8, can that be the answer? No. Similar to Gautam, I need to divide it by 3 to get to the final answer. Till the point in time, I get a number which is lesser than 3 because my final remainder can never ever be greater than the divisor. Is it now clear to you, Jeremiah? Perfect. That is very, very good. All right. No, sirs, please. You can call me Atreya. Okay, next part over here. This is also the part where I become really very childish and very, very, yeah, really very childish, because I would want you people to tell me and write that in the chat pod what I tell you right now. Something that we solved over here. We first calculated the base number, then brought in the exponent, right? So can you all please write in the chat pod, first calculate the base remainder, then bring in the exponent. It's a very childish request from my end, guys. First the base remainder, then the exponent. And I want all of you to do this, please. First the base remainder, then the exponent, right? Okay. I wanted all of you to write this because the moment you write something, things stick to your brain, right? Perfect. All right. This is the first thing that I wanted you to write. There's another time I become a bit foolish. I'll come to that part, not right now. Right. Okay. So with that, let me move on to question number 6. But before moving on to question number 6, I have another very, very interesting topic to tell you and a very interesting concept to tell you. But before that, thank you all of you. Thanks to all of you who have written all of this lengthy statement only because I asked you to do so. Trust me, you would understand its importance at a later on time. Right? Okay, so let me go to the next part. The next part is I know that there are easy ways to solve questions, right? Calculating the remainders and all of that. But what if there's a more effective method to solve questions? And through that, mathematicians found out the concept of negative remainders. And thanks to whoever found that out, it really makes our lives very, very easy. I'll tell you, we all know that the remainder has to be lesser than the divisor. We also know that the remainder is either equal to 0 or a positive number. It can never be equal to -2, right? No, it can be. Under some circumstances, it can be. Now, what happens when I divide 5 by 2? I get a remainder of 1. What if I do not take the quotient to be 2, but take it to be 3? If the quotient is 3, my remainder would be equal to -1. Let's take another example. When I divide 8 by 3, I get a remainder of 2. However, that is when I take the quotient to be 2. What if I take the quotient to be 3? I get a remainder of -1. Negative remainders are very, very helpful to solve questions, intermediate steps in questions. They are very, very helpful to get negative remainders. But how to use negative remainders and when to arrive at a negative remainder? You already can calculate a positive remainder. When I give you 5 by 2 or 8 by 3, you can calculate the positive remainder. The positive remainder is equal to the negative remainder plus the divisor. So to calculate the negative remainder, you simply do what? You have the positive remainder. You simply subtract the divisor from the positive remainder to get the negative remainder. Right? Negative remainders makes our lives very, very easy. However, they can only be used in intermediate stages. They can never be the final answer because by definition of remainders, they have to be positive or equal to 0. Right? They only help us to ensure to reduce the calculation load, and we'll get to those kind of questions where they would help us reduce the calculation load. So do everything you like with negative remainders to ease your calculations, but please make sure to convert into a positive remainder because negative remainders can never, ever, ever be the final answer. It's not possible mathematically, right? With that, I would move on to question number 6. Very quickly, please mark a still solving. And I am going to help you understand how does negative remainders make your life easy. Okay, I have 28 people. I need 7 more. Guys, let's do it very, very quickly. I have a very interesting question for all of you. Perfect. Question number 6 on your screen. All the best for this one. All right, last 3 seconds. I'm going to end the poll and let me broadcast the results. I have a 67% accuracy for this question where they tell me that the answer for this question is choice D. 17% of you tell me it's choice C. All right, let's look at the solution first. What is the remainder when 24 to the power 3 times 38 to the power 5 plus 17 to the power 7 is divided by 3? Tell me, sequence 1 or sequence 2? Sequence 2, right? Absolutely correct. Perfect. We would be using sequence 2 to solve this question. Now, how do you apply sequence 2 over here? Have I not already solved this question, guys? Have I not already done this? And do you people remember what was the remainder for this question? This part of that question? Do you people remember that? It was equal to 0, right? It was equal to 0, correct? Perfect. So do I need to look at this anymore? Do I need to look at this expression anymore? I don't have to look at this expression anymore, right? What is the remainder? The remaining part over here is 17 to the power 7. I just need to now look at 17 to the power 7. Now, what is the remainder when I divide 17 by 3? Tell me, what is the remainder when I divide 17 by 3? It's equal to plus 2. Perfect. Can you also tell me another remainder, please? The negative remainder, please. What would be the negative remainder? You simply subtract the divisor, right? So I have two remainders. I have plus 2, I have minus 1. What did I tell you, people? When I need to calculate 17 by 3 whole to the power 7, I'll first calculate the base remainder, then bring in the exponent. So these are the base two the two remainders at base. What would you rather calculate, 2 to the power 7 or minus 1 to the power 7? Very honestly, what would you rather calculate? 2 to the power 7 or minus 1 to the power 7? Definitely minus 1 to the power 7, right? So this is the delta, the difference that negative remainders create in our lives. 2 to the power 7, calculating that would take you a lot of time. Leave 2 to the power 7. What if it was 6 to the power 7 or 5 to the power 7 or all of that number? Negative remainders takes away all of that pain, right? When I have minus 1 to the power 7, let me write that down. So there are two possible remainders. One is minus 1, the other is 2. You don't want to calculate this, so we'll go ahead with minus 1 to the power 7. Minus 1 to the power 7. The power of minus 1 is odd, so I'll get a minus 1, right? So this is my final answer. Can minus 1 be the final answer at any point in time? The final answer? No, because negative remainders can never ever be the final answer. What do we need to do? We need to convert into a positive remainder. How? We simply add the divisor, which is equal to 3, and hence we get the final answer to be equal to 2 in this case, which is choice D. Tell me, is the solution clear to all of you? Okay, Harshita did not get the negative remainder. Why, Harshita? You know that the positive remainder is equal to 2, right? You do know this, right? That the positive remainder is equal to 2. If the positive remainder is equal to 2, you need to subtract the divisor to get the negative remainder, which is equal to minus 1. So both of these are remainders when I divide 17 by 3, either 2 or minus 1. Now, I don't want to calculate 2 to the power 7. I rather calculate minus 1 to the power 7 because this makes my life easy. That's why I use it over here. Harshita, is it now clear to you? And if it's not, please tell me where is that confusion. Yes, perfect. That is absolutely very joyful for me. Okay, so with that, we'll now move on to question number 7. I have an ask of all of you. Can I expect an accuracy of more than 90% in this question, please? Can I expect that? Yes? Perfect. I love the energy that you people have. All right, question number 7. The poll is up. Can you please mark us still solving? All right, question number 7 on your screen. All the best for this one, guys. All right, last 3 seconds, guys. Last 3 seconds. I am going to end the poll. Okay, let me broadcast the results. So, 81%, not bad, but we couldn't hit 90. It's still all right. I'll just explain. Why is it not A, B, C, or D? The answer for this question is definitely choice E. Again, do I need to calculate the remainder for this part? In yes or no, please. Do I need to calculate the remainder for this part? Why do I not need to do that? Why do I not need to do that? Can you give me the reason? Because 24 is divisible by 6, right? 24 is divisible by 6, right? Perfect. I only have 17 to the power 7 then at hand. So what do I do over here? I calculate the two remainders. What are the two remainders? It's either equal to 5 or equal to minus 1. And I also have an exponent of 7. Again, understand. Base remainder, then the exponent, right? Tell me, what would you rather calculate? Minus 1 to the power 7 or 5 to the power 7? You didn't even pick up the pen. That is so nice to hear. Minus 1 to the power 7, right? Okay, minus 1 to the power odd number. What would it return? It would return me minus 1. Can that be the answer? No, it cannot be, because negative remainders can never be the final answer. I need to add the divisor to reach to the final answer, which becomes 5. 5 it is, which is choice C. Is the solution clear to all of you? I'm very happy that I could get an 81% accuracy. Would have loved to see a 91, but people who marked choices A, B, C, D, I hope it's clear to all of you, is it? Any questions, any doubts that you people have? And if not, please write a no so that I can move ahead. If 17 to the power 8, very good question. In that case, what would I have? I would have a minus 1 to the power 8 and a 5 to the power 8. Again, you definitely don't want to calculate 5 to the power 8, right? You would want to calculate minus 1 to the power 8. What would be the value of minus 1 to the power an even number? 1 itself. So the final answer in that case directly becomes 1. I don't have to add the divisor because the final remainder is a positive remainder, right? Is this clear to all of you guys? Had the power of 17 been 8, the answer would have been 1. Is this clear to all of you? Perfect. All right, that is very good to hear. What if base remainder is -2 or -3? At that place, we would have to put in some effort to calculate that. Again, understand, life is not a bed of roses, is it, Gotham? So we have to do that. No way out. But again, I have a lot of trust on GMAT. They'll not give you questions in which you have to, spend a lot of time in doing calculations. Crystal, what if it was 17 to the power 6? It would have been, so 17 would give me what? -1 and +5, right? So it would have been -1 to the power 6. Now, Crystal, please tell me, what is the value of -1 to the power 6? It would be +1. Is +1 a positive remainder? Yes or no, please? That is your final answer then. Is that clear? Perfect. All right, that is very good. Okay, so with that, we will now move on to the 3 questions that we had solved at the initial stage of the session. Are you people ready? Okay, so with that, another foolish ask of me. Why is 24 divisible by 0? Because 24 contains a 0, right? That is the reason 24 is divisible by 0. Divisible by 6. I messed it up right there. 24 is divisible by 6. And that is the reason I get a remainder of 0. So I get a remainder of 0 because 24 contains a 6, right? Can you people write out the same thing? If a number contains another number, the remainder is equal to 0. Foolish ask. Hashtag foolish ask too. All right, that is perfect. That is so nice of you. Again, we'll keep this in mind to solve the next 3 questions. Just one simple another thing. Do people remember first base then exponent funda? Do people remember that? That we first have to calculate for the base and then the exponent? Yes or no, please? Yes, right? Perfect. So with that, just a very quick overview of question number 6 and 7. It's completely okay to process negative remainders, but please make sure you convert that into positive remainders. You have this very important formula: positive remainder is equal to negative remainder plus the divisor. And when k is divisible by n, by that I mean when 24 is divisible by 6, 6 is present inside k, that n is present inside k. Right? With that, question number 8, I'll open the poll. Can you please mark a still solving? And while you people mark a still solving, are you enjoying the session? Perfect. That is very, very good to hear. Okay, I have my number, question number 8 on your screen. All the best for this one. Last 10 seconds, guys. Last 10 seconds. Please put your answers in the poll. Okay, 3, 2, and 1, because all of you have already answered. So I'm going to end the poll and broadcast the results. 40% if you tell me that the answer for this question is choice C, 44% if you tell me that it's choice A. Now, before even I move ahead with the solution part, in the chat pod, tell me, did you people feel more confident while you solved this question this time around? That is good. Perfect. All right. Shalab is very, very confident. That is the reason he wrote 4 yeses. I'm just taking your case. But yes, that is very, very good to see this. Okay, so let's now move on to the question. What do we have? We have, what is the remainder when a positive integer p is divided by another positive integer m, where m is greater than 1, right? So I need to first need to calculate the value of the remainder when p is divided by m when m is greater than 1. So what's the first statement? The first statement tells me that m plus 1 to the power 8 is the value of p. When I divide p by m, do you people remember the same thing? First base, then exponent. Do you people remember that? First the base, then the exponent. So what I'm doing over here is I am dividing m plus 1 to the power 8 by m. Now, how can I write m plus 1 by m? Because I need to first calculate the base remainder. So I need to calculate the remainder of m plus 1 by m. All right. Tell me, can I write m plus 1 by m to be equal to m by m plus 1 by m? Can I do this? Answer in a yes or no, please. Can I do this? Can I write m plus 1 by m to be as m by m plus 1 by m? Okay. What is the remainder when I divide a number m with the same number m? What is the remainder over here? For example, when I divide 2 by 2 or 3 by 3. Mahak, Yamini, what is the remainder when I divide 2 by 2? Do I get a remainder of 1, Mahak or Yamini? It's equal to 0, correct? Correct? Yes, absolutely perfect. So this would yield me a remainder of 0. Okay, what is the remainder when I divide 1 by a number which is greater than 1? For example, when I divide 1 by 2 or 1 by 3 or 1 by 10, what is the remainder when I divide 1 by a number greater than 1? It's equal to 1, right? Absolutely perfect. So when I divide m plus 1 by m, I get a total remainder of 1. Is this clear to all of you? Is this clear to all of you? Perfect. That is very good. Okay, I have the base remainder. What's the next step? Can you people write it out for me, please? I have the base remainder. What is the next step? Is to bring in the exponent. 1 by m, Paridhi. For example, I have 1 and I know that m is greater than 1, right? So m can be any number which is, let's say, 2 or 3. What is the remainder when I divide 1 by 2 or 1 by 3 or 1 by 10, all of that? It's always equal to 1, right? Is it now clear? Isha, when I divide 1 by 2, the remainder is equal to 1, correct? It's not half is equal to 1. The remainder when I divide 1 by 2 is equal to 1. That's the intent behind saying that or writing that statement. Is it clear to you? Paridhi, please tell me if it's clear to you as well. Okay. Isha, what is the remainder when I divide 1 by 3? What is the remainder when I divide 1 by 3? Okay, got it? Perfect. Okay. Okay. Paridhi, what is the remainder when I divide 1 by 3? When I divide the number 1 with the number 3, what is the remainder? Please tell me, what is the remainder when I divide the number 1 with the number 3? It's equal to 1 only, right? Because the quotient is equal to 0, right? I've done the same thing over here. When 1 is getting divided by m which is a number greater than 1, it's equal to 1, right? The remainder is equal to 1, right? Perfect. Thank you, Isha, for writing that out. That really helps a lot. Okay, so the final remainder is equal to 1. Now, as you people said, I then need to bring in the exponent, right? Now, what would be the exponent? What would be the exponent? The exponent is equal to 8. 1 to the power 8. Does it change anything? Not at all. The final remainder is equal to 1. So I get the final remainder to be equal to 1. Hence, the first statement is a sufficient statement. Is this clear to all of you? Since I get the value of the remainder, the first statement is a sufficient statement. Right? Perfect. The second statement tells me that the value of m is equal to 8. No information about p. Can I have anything sorted out from this? Not at all. So the second statement is not a sufficient statement. Hence, the answer choice becomes choice A. Is the solution clear to all of you? Perfect. All right, then. Question number 9. Slightly more difficult. Please mark as still solving. $35. Question number 9 on the screen. All the best for this one. All right, last 3 seconds, guys. If you've not put the answer, please do so. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and broadcast the results. 40% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice A. 27% if you tell me it's choice D. I know why did you people mark choice D, because you missed a very slight piece of information. I'll go to that part, but before that, let's discuss this solution over here. If n is a positive integer, what is the remainder when 38 to the power n square is divided by 13? Did you people apply base first and then exponent concept over here? Did you people do that? Perfect. That's what I was looking for. So what do we do is first calculate what is the remainder when I divide 38 by 13. It's either equal to -1 or equal to +12. What would you rather work with? -1 or +12? Tell me. What would you rather work with? Definitely -1, right? Perfect. So I have -1 to the power n square. Okay. Now, -1 to the power n square. N is a positive integer, so there are two possibilities. Either n is odd or n is even. If n is odd, n square is also odd, correct? -1 to the power odd would always return a -1. And since -1 cannot be the final remainder, I add the divisor, which is equal to 13 in this case, to get the remainder, which is equal to 12. So when n is odd, my remainder would be equal to 12. When n is even, n squared would become even. -1 to the power an even number becomes +1, a positive remainder. I don't have any questions or concerns over here. Did all of you reach to this step? Okay, that is very, very good. That is very, very good. And if anyone missed it out, please make sure you keep this in mind. Before you move on to the first statement, always try to extract all the information possible. Because trust me on this, this entire question of divisibility and remainders now becomes a question to find out whether n is even or not, yes or no. The entire question of divisibility and remainders now becomes a question which is just saying if n is even or odd. That's it. Right? Okay. So the first statement, n leaves no remainder when divided by 4. That essentially tells me that n is a multiple of 4. That means n is even. If n is even, I can find out the answer. Statement 1 is sufficient. Statement 2, root of n is only divisible by 1 on itself. So tell me, guys, which is that number which is only divisible by 1 on itself? What kind of a number am I talking about? I'm talking about a prime number, right? Perfect. So root of n has to be a prime number. If root of n is a prime number, n has to be a prime number's whole square, right? N has to be a prime number's whole square. So what are the different prime numbers? N can be even, n can be odd as well, right? So this is where people who mark choice D faltered, yes or no? Tell me. This is the place where people who marked choice D faltered, right? Because you forgot that there is 2 as well. Very, very important piece of learning. And that's what makes this question a 700 plus, in my opinion, a 730, 740 level question, right? Not to worry, Isha, I am very sure that you would not make this mistake again now that you've already gotten a question wrong, right? Perfect. So then, since the second statement can give me even or odd numbers both, it would not give me a final remainder. Hence, the second statement is not a valid statement. Statement A is the only sufficient statement which makes choice A the correct answer choice for this question. Tell me, is the solution clear to all of you? Perfect. Before I move into question number 10, why is 24, why do 24 leaves a remainder of 0 when divided by 6, guys? Remember hashtag FA2? It contains 6, right? It contains 6. Perfect. Keep that in mind. I'll give you question number 10. All the best for this one. But before that, I need still solvings. Very quickly, please. Perfect. Question number 10 on your screen. All the best for this. All right, 5 more seconds to put your answers to this question. Perfect. I'm going to end the poll and broadcast the results. 43% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice D. 33% of you tell me it's choice, and I know the reason in its perfect sense. Why did you mark A and not D? Before that, so let's talk about this question, and I'll ask you a few other questions. Are you people aware of the prime factorization method, guys? Do you people know the prime factorization method? By that, how I write 36 as. So 36 can be written as 2 to the power 2 times 3 to the power 2, right? This is how I write 36. Do all of you know this? The prime factorization method? Perfect. Okay. All right. That is good. That is good. Now, tell me something. Can the exponent be ever a non-integral number in its in the prime factorization expression? Can that ever be a non-integral number? It can never be a non-integral number, right? Perfect. With this information, we'll move ahead. What do I have? I have, what is the remainder of 4m when divided by 16 when m is a positive integer greater than 1? So I know that m is a positive integer greater than 1. I need to find out what is the remainder when 4m is divided by 16. So 4m can be written as 16q plus r, where r is less than or equal to 16, right? Because 16 is the divisor, we need to find out the value of r over here. Okay, before I move ahead, because I know that this question comes up very frequently, can I cancel off m from both the sides, 4m and 16, and find out the answer? Yes, you can do so, but again, becomes a bit more complicated. You need to find out the remainder, then multiply it with 4 to get the final answer. I don't want you to do that. Let's stick to 4m is equal to 16q plus r only, right? Let's do that. Okay, now, what is the first statement? The first statement tells me that m leaves the remainder of 4 when divided by 32 times 32. So m can be written as 32 to the power 32k plus 4, where k is the quotient. If I multiply 4, because this is the value of m, I need to find out the remainder when I divide 4m, right? So when I multiply this entire number with 4, I get 4 to the times 32 to the power 32 times k plus 4. So that can be written as 4 times 32 to the power 32k plus 16. Now, tell me something. I have 4 to the power 32 to the power 32 to the power k. Is this a multiple of 16 in a yes or no? I have a lot of 32s. I would definitely have 16s. So is 4 times 32 to the power 32k multiple of 16? Yes or no? It definitely is, right? It definitely is. Apart from that, I also have this 4 multiplied with this 4, which is essentially a 16. So 4m can be written as 16p plus 16, which is again of the form 16p plus 1 plus 0, where 0 is the remainder. So the final remainder is equal to 0 from statement 1. Is this clear to all of you? The final remainder is equal to 0. Again, Paridhi, please tell me what is the issue. And if any one of you have a problem, please tell me what is that problem. What we did over here is we had 4 times 32 to the power 32 times times k, right? So I've just taken a 32 out. Again, remember, I have a lot of supply of 32s. That essentially means I have a lot of 16s. So this entire expression 32 to the power 32k is a multiple of 16, which would not yield me any remainder, because my divisor over here is 16. So anything that's a multiple of 16 is not giving me any remainder. I had another 4, but when I multiply this 4 with this 4, I'll get a 16. Again, multiple of 16, no remainders. So the entire expression that I have over here would not yield me any remainder. Paridhi, is it clear to you? Perfect. 32 to the power 31, where that has gone? That has gone inside p. I'm not very interested in knowing the value of p here, Rahul, because understand that doesn't affect my answer, right? I just need to write it in terms of 16p. That's it. Anything which is the value of p is something that I'm not interested in. Does that make sense, Rahul? Again, understand 32 to the power 31 is a multiple of 16, so would essentially yield me a remainder of 0, right? Right? Perfect. So the first statement is a sufficient statement to answer this question. Can we simplify the equation to m by 4 first? Crystal, as I told you, please let's not do that, because at the end we forget multiplying it with 4, and all of that creates a problem. That's the reason I would want you not to do that, right? But yes, if you ask me, is there a scope? Yes, there is a scope. No problems with that. But please make sure you multiply the remainder at the end as well. Multiply 4 at the end as well. Right? Okay. So with that, the second question, the second statement, m to the power 3 is divisible by 16. If m to the power 3 is divisible by 16, 16 is inside m cube, or m cube contains 16. Yes or no? Hashtag FA2. M cube contains 16, right? Okay. How can I write 16 in terms of 2? How can I write 16 in terms of 2? 2 to the power 4, right? Perfect. So m cube contains 2 to the power 4, yes or no? M to the power 3 contains 2 to the power 4, yes or no? Perfect. No, it's given m cube is divisible by 16. I can only talk about m cube, Shalabh. I cannot talk about m right now. Right? So m cube contains 2 to the power 4, not m over here. M might contain, but I cannot say for 100% surety that m contains 2 to the power 4 in it. And we'll come to that part. So if m cubes contain a power of 2, m has to contain a power of 2, yes or no? If m cube contains a power of 2, m has to contain a power of 2, yes or no? Right? Yes. Perfect. Perfect. So m has certain power. I'm not very interested in knowing what other powers I have over here. Not at all interested. I'm just interested about 2 over here, because the second statement provides me information with respect to 2 only. Right? Okay. If m contains 2 to the power a, if I cube both these sides, m cube would contain 2 to the power 3a. Is it clear up till this point? M cube would contain 2 to the power 3a if m contains 2 to the power a. Is this clear up till this point? Perfect. If it is, let's look at the next part. It's given in this question and we already discussed m cube contains a 2 to the power 4. So that essentially tells me 2 to the power 3a is either equal to 2 to the power 4 or greater than 2 to the power 4, yes or no? 2 to the power 3a is either equal to 2 to the power 4 or might be 2 to the power 5 or 2 to the power 6 or 2 to the power 7, whatever that is. But at a minimum has to be equal to 2 to the power 4. Okay, if 2 to the power 3a has to be equal to 2 to the power 4, 3a has to be equal to or greater than 4, which tells me a has to be greater than equal to 4 by 3. You people, before starting the question, told me that a can never be a fractional number, right? It can never be a fractional number. So the minimum value of a is equal to 2, yes or no? Yes, right? Perfect. So that essentially tells me m has a minimum of 2 to the power 2 inside it. If m has a minimum of 2 to the power 2 inside it, 4m has to have 4 times that number, 2 to the power 2 times something. So 4m is equal to 4 times 4, which is 16, times something. Not very interested in learning what is this something, but 4m is of the form of 16q. If 4m is a multiple of 16, the remainder would be equal to 0. So both statements 1 and 2 are sufficient, which tells me the answer for this question is choice D. Is the solution clear to all of you? A very, very nice question. Definitely a 750 level or even a 750 plus level question. But breaking the question into 6-7 parts helped us reaching at the answer without any problems. Right? All right then. So these were the last 3 questions that I had to discuss with all of you. I hope all the solutions to all the questions that we had discussed are now clear to all of you. So as next step, I would recommend all of you, if you're a student, go through the quant course, follow the expert learning architecture, master the process skills, and excel in the GMAT skill files. If you're not a student, take the free trial, go through the content that you have, go through those videos. I'm very, very sure that you would be able to gain a lot from the course. Again, understand, a webinar is only a 2-hour, 2.5 hour, or 3-hour process, right? The course has a lot more content inside it, and I'll be very happy if you extract that learning out of it. So before I give you the PDF and the other parts over here, tell me, how did you like the session? I really love to have some feedback from all of you. Where can I take the free trial? Just log into your account. That would be all. Thank you for those very kind words, guys. It really cheers our mood a lot, you know. Learn a lot. That is so very good. Okay, perfect. So with that, I am now going to share the session PDF. Just give me a moment, please. Okay, I have the session PDF. If any of you want to download this, please feel very, very free to download the PDF over here. Struggles with the topic? Hilda, are you now confident after today's session? This is the file for the, let me hide this out. Yes, so this is the file for process skills. Please download this as well. And I'm very, very sure all these would help you a lot in your preparation. Also, if you want to book a one-on-one call with one of our strategy experts, feel very free to do so. I will give you the link for the same GMAT study plan. If you want to talk to one of our strategy experts who would give you a very fair idea of how to go about what resources to take care of, what are the timelines, how to go about your prep, just drop a request over here. Okay, what should be my accuracy for a 4950 score in quant? Again, it completely depends. If you make 4 mistakes in the first block itself, it is going to be difficult, Dave. All right. So since GMAT is an exam which is completely adaptive, you need to make sure that the first 2 blocks are areas where you do not make a lot of mistakes, right? So please take care of that, Dave. Hilda, I'm so very happy that you're confident right now. Please go through some more questions from the topic from the website, and I'm very sure that would make sure that all the learnings that you have today is now, cemented. All right then, guys. Thanks a lot for attending the session. I'm so very happy seeing all of you here. I look forward to seeing all of you in the next set of sessions that we have. Till then, take care of yourself and have a very good day or a night ahead. Bye-bye, all of you.